Hello and welcome to North Coast Journal Preview, where we talk about the articles in this week's North Coast Journal. I'm joined here in the Access Humboldt studio with Thad Greenson, news editor. Welcome.
Thank you.
And also Jennifer Fumiko Cahill, the arts and features editor.
Yes.
It's easy for me to say. Almost true. All right, well, thanks guys for joining us here. We're going to dive right in. What is going on in this week's North Coast Journal?
Thanks. We've got we have a cover story that's wonderful. It's by our freelancer Elaine Weinreb, who covers a lot of governmental processes and natural resources for us, and it is on the fight over Elk River, which is, for those who don't know, it is the watershed that runs through the Headwaters Forest. It's been degraded by decades of really heavy logging. The river is heavily silted and really prone to flooding and all kinds of problems. And there has been a decades-long fight between land property owners, timber companies, and various government oversight agencies. So it's kind of an update on where all that fighting is. And spoiler alert, it's not great.
If you had to cut to the executive summary, what's the big takeaway here? What's the challenge and what's the problem solutions proposed?
The challenge is that the river or the watershed is just so degraded at this point that really drastic solutions are necessary. Either like a moratorium on logging to keep silt out of the river. Even that would also necessitate kind of dredging the river and massive revegetation efforts. All these are really expensive and time-consuming. The Regional Water Quality Control Board is the entity that's kind of stuck in the middle, and they've made a couple decisions that have angered everybody. So they're facing lawsuits.
Even me, I'm extremely angry.
Which is hard to do.
Yeah, so they're facing lawsuits from the timber companies and the landowners, and it's a mess.
Gotcha.
That's the short of it.
That's where the article leaves it. Kind of a mess. Here's an update from the front line.
Mm-hmm. But I think probably what most listeners and viewers are interested in this morning is election stuff.
Although
we had an election last night.
We have to take it easy on that because, number one, covering elections at newspapers is madness. And number two, I have it on good authority that he slept in a chair.
No, I slept on your couch,
your
office couch.
It's not a great couch. It's not much better. And also, I think when I left, there were just I looked on Twitter and, the New York Times has this incredible Italian food buffet set up for election night coverage for their reporters who were staying up all night. And then, in Texas, somebody tweeted out their amazing barbecue plate. We had, I think, a bag of Doritos, some Takis, and there was a cake.
There was a cake, and I'm going to be real. Cool Ranch Doritos are a treat in my household.
And it turns out they were breakfast food.
Normally.
But it wasn't a glorious spread for your
No, but we made do. We made do.
And because Tuesday is our press day, that means that you get the glory of press day panic and blow by blow on the web by posting every couple of hours whenever information comes in, and coming in or getting up at the crack of dawn.
Never leaving.
Nope, with Holly from production, who cranked out the paper at, I want to say 4:30?
We had to have it to the press by 5:30 this morning. So she came in at 4:30 and we got it out the door.
So results from last night are in this week's North Coast Journal already?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
So we feel like, covering an election is one of a newspaper's core functions, and so we feel like it's just kind of an all-hands-on-deck effort where we need to do everything we can to both get live, real-time results out to people. So in
All
addition
hands,
to...
but not my hands.
So in addition to getting the print paper out today with election results in it, I was updating the website at 12:40 a.m. when the last results came through. And then, like Jen said, we really want to get them in the print edition too. We're the only print edition that's free and circulated widely throughout Humboldt County, so we feel like it's a really important function for us to have. But that entails a crazy day. Usually we go to press Tuesday evening with our weekly edition, and so that's usually we send it off around 7 p.m. or something like that. And so what we do for election days is we hold a couple pages that are going to have our elections coverage to send by 5:30 in the morning, which means we go through our normal production day on Tuesday, getting the rest of the paper proofread and out the door and off to the printer. And then we shift gears at 8 p.m. and start covering the election, and then it's kind of an all-night affair, doing the live updates and stuff, and then once the final returns come back, we switch gears and start working to package that for print the next morning.
So you use the term final returns. My understanding is that there will still be some counting that goes on for the next couple of days or so.
Yeah.
But,
So-
you're just reporting what the last...
The final election night returns.
Gotcha, okay.
And so, yeah, that's our goal, is to get kind of the most up-to-date information we can. But you're absolutely right. The tabulating of ballots will be a weeks-long effort from here on. We won't have final results for probably 2 or 3 weeks. And we still have at least a couple races that are very much kind of hanging in the balance.
Do you want to go into more detail on any of those races that
Yeah,
is
sure.
worthy of reporting on at this point?
Yeah, so I think I'll just give a quick rundown of the closest races, the ones that are most likely to shift, we probably have 3,000 or 4,000 ballots outstanding countywide, at least. And so as those get counted, these are the ones that are most likely to shift. And that is the 2nd District Supervisor race. Estelle Fennell, the incumbent, has just under 50% of the vote. And so she has like a 20-point lead on her nearest challenger, Michelle Bushnell. But if she hits over that 50% threshold, she avoids the runoff election in November. And so she's just a handful of votes shy of that. And it'll be interesting to see if, as the last ballots are counted, if it pushes her over that threshold and she just wins outright.
And there were 4 people in that race, right?
5 total.
5,
4
sorry.
challengers and Estelle. So that'll be interesting to watch. And then Measure R up in Arcata, in the Arcata area. It's the Arcata Fire District's new special parcel tax. The district feels like it's absolutely crucial to maintain current services. If it doesn't pass, they're probably going to have to close a fire department and lay off a handful of firefighters. And as the final returns came in, it's trailing. It's not at the 2/3 threshold it needs to pass. And it looks honestly unlikely that it's going to pass, but it's still kind of in that too close to call realm. Mm-hmm. And then likewise, Measure T. We're sitting here on the Eureka High School campus. Measure T is a bond measure that would bring in $18 million in bond revenue for Eureka City Schools to upgrade facilities. And it needs 55% of the vote to pass, and I believe in the final returns it was about 53%.
Oh, it's close.
Very close, just under. Again, it seems kind of unlikely it's going to make up that ground, but it's absolutely possible.
Gotcha.
So those are the ones we're going to be watching really closely in the coming weeks.
So
Actually, kind of some nail biters.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Those are the 3 close ones. Is there any other are there any other races that you want to mention at all?
Sure. I mean, the other kind of, I think, big ticket race was the 1st District Supervisor race. Saw challenger Cliff Berkowitz going up against 2-term incumbent Rex Bone. That was just a landslide from beginning to end. Rex took, I think, about 2/3 of the vote.
Yeah.
Not in doubt at all. Cliff conceded this morning. And yeah, I think those are the big ones. And then obviously, there's a ton of interest in the Democratic presidential primary. And it's always interesting to see how Humboldt's preferences differ a bit from the rest of the state and the country.
Yeah.
Definitely in Bernie country here,
Yeah.
as far as the Democrats are
So
concerned.
we'll open it up and check it out.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. How about you, Jennifer? What are you covering in Arts and Features Beat?
I covered, I do a lot of, food writing,
Yeah.
and I talk to a lot of people about food, and I can't think of too many cuisines that are kind of out of the realm for me and, exotic to me, except for this week. This week we are talking about cooking at a campsite.
Okay.
Which is, as Thad knows, I don't really go outside. I run to my car with my head covered by a journal, just sort of to avoid UV rays, and then I run back into the office and I try not to breathe any fresh air. So, but
Yep.
Truly exotic for you.
truly exotic for me is what this couple does. So there's a lovely. I want to hold up their picture because they're magic. Dean Hubbard and his lovely wife, who he calls his most awesome wife, Joni Hartman Hubbard. Oh, the picture's small, but there they are. They are hardcore teardrop trailer campers. Okay. And so what they do is they always have their trailer packed, and they go out camping every weekend that they possibly can. They live in an old firehouse.
Oh, wow.
They gave me the address to come to their place and see them. And I was driving up, I'm like, they are not kidding. That is, not like an old Victorian firehouse that somebody has changed into no, it's a firehouse. It's cinder block inside. There's 2 giant truck bays. There's lockers in their bedroom.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. But
They need lots of room for all the cast iron.
they
right?
have a huge cast iron collection. Like, I dare you to go and rob them. There's like
You couldn't carry
10
it.
million pounds of cast iron. That's all you will get. Don't rob the firehouse. There's nothing in there but cast iron. So anyway, I went there and they showed me their setup and they showed me their whole giant cache of recipes that they put on their YouTube videos. Pretty much almost weekly of late, but they have had almost, I want to say they're heading toward 10.4 million views.
Really?
They've got 50,000 subscribers.
So they're YouTube famous.
Yes.
This is a thing. This is cool.
And they are older people, and they are in their, I want to say, let's see, they got married when Joni was like 56, and that was like 7 years ago. So they started with a flip camera, and now they've got, they've burned through a bunch of cameras. And they just set up a tripod, and they do like a little intro, and they say, "Hi, welcome to outdoor cast iron cooking," and then off they go.
Well, Jen sent me on a deep dive down this YouTube channel because I do love camping and I love cast iron cooking and Dutch oven cooking.
I should apologize to your wife for all of the cast iron food she's going to need to be eating.
There will be benefits. She'll be, yeah.
So what were some
when
of
I
the
make that
standouts?
cobbler, she's going to be happy.
Yeah, I was going to say, you did this deep dive, and so besides cobbler, was there anything else that's kind of stood out?
Oh, there is all kinds of stuff. I mean, from whole prime rib to crab to fried chicken. I mean, they do all kinds of stuff. But
Yeah.
Everything.
I was going to say, one of the things that's super endearing about it is that it's, they're very no frills. There's not like, they're not entertainers. There's not lavish introductions. It is all about the cooking.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to how serious they take their craft, that they've built up this, this gigantic following.
And there's no slickness to it. It's just like, they make the elk scallopini, right? And it's just in this pot, and you can see the containers around, and it's just like an old margarine tub that they've put stuff in, or, and then when they plate it, it's just, we're not doing like, Food Channel. We're not like wiping the edge of the plate. It's a Dixie paper bowl with this, elk scallopini in it. And then she just kind of spoons some Kraft grated Parmesan cheese over it. And it's just sitting there. There's no mise en scène. It's all, you know what I mean? And I appreciate that. I appreciate that they are not slick. They are not of the, schooled YouTube influencer vibe. They are so humble. They are so themselves. And they just do it, honestly, because they love Dutch oven cooking. They just really love going out camping and cooking. And that's all they want to do. And they just want everyone else to do it. It's kind of amazing.
They also had like the Cast Iron Society of Humboldt County or something like that, right?
Yes, they run the Humboldt Dutch Oven Society. And there's a phone number if you want to go to their gathering. It's in here along with a recipe for a, a blueberry coconut crumble, apple blueberry coconut crumble. And it's kind of amazing.
It sounds delicious.
So just for people that don't know, we're talking about like campfire?
Yeah, it's just that big cast iron pot and over coals, and then coals on top. You can do fire, of course, but you have to kind of know how this particular wood versus that particular wood burns.
I see.
They use coal recipes because you can calculate very easily how to get to a temperature.
Gotcha.
Testing that temperature requires putting your hand in a hot pot, which, again, very exotic to me.
Yeah.
It was
the oldest thermometer in the book.
Yes, and I actually had one video that kind of went viral because they were boiling live crab, and people lost their damn minds watching the crab going from the pot was too much, and it brewed a controversy, and it kind of boosted their signal, and you can go back and watch it. It's harrowing.
Okay.
But on the other hand, it also looks delicious.
Gotcha. So you guys haven't tried anything yet, but we're strongly encouraging people to do so.
I would strongly encourage people to try it and then bring it to us so that I don't have to go outside.
All right. Well, you guys heard that. Any last thoughts before we wrap up?
You should definitely check out the Art Beat this week, which for basketball fans, Ben Funke has an exhibit at the College of the Redwoods that is all about basketball.
Right on.
And it's like hoops and nets that have been turned into sculptures and prints that are pictures of basketball hoops all over the country, and it's kind of fascinating.
Excellent.
That's very cool.
Well, Thad, Jennifer, thank you very much. North Coast Journal, it's on newsstands now. Pick up a copy, stay informed. Until next time, I'm your host, Dave Frank, here at Access Humboldt. Take care. Thank you for watching. Bye.